A couple of days ago, the jury did the right thing and acquitted Puffy of RICO and sex trafficking. I was very happy for him. I was very excited because I believed, based on the evidence and based on the words that came out of Cassie and Daphne's mouth, that they were willing participants and not victims. Puff had no victims of rape. He's not a rapist. He's not a sex trafficker. A lot of lies were told on him. And he was railroaded. And I'm glad that the jury saw through the facts and acquitted him on the serious charges. Now, he was still convicted on the Mann Act. The two Mann Act counts for traveling people across state lines. He was convicted on that, but he has a good legal team, and a lot of people are saying, oh, he could get 20 years. The government is asking for him to do 5 years, and his legal team is asking for 2 years. He's already done 10 months in jail. He is being held without bond until his sentencing on October 3rd. So by October 3rd, he would have already served a year behind bars. It's crazy, what Cassie tried to do to him, what the government tried to do to him. It was a takedown of another successful black man. The same thing I've been saying ever since they got R. Kelly on the Mann Act and racketeering charges. I said they're going to do this to other black men. And a lot of people, including Puff, did not speak up or try to help R. Kelly behind the scenes when he got in his situation with the federal government. But I think now that Puff has gone through the same situation, and now that he's sitting behind bars, I think that he will help R. Kelly behind the scenes. Puff is going to probably send some money to the lawyers, send his lawyers over there to New York to try to look at the case, because R. Kelly does not deserve 30 years behind bars. It was a lot of fuck shit that happened. R. Kelly did not have the money because remember they froze his account, so he didn't have the money and access like Puff had. Puff was smart. His lawyers did everything they could to make sure that he had his money to fight this case. So he was not walking into court as a man with no income and no money and, broken, like they did to R. Kelly. R. Kelly was a test run, so by the time it came to Puff, I think his lawyers looked at what was done to R. Kelly and they were able to prevent a lot of the shit from happening to Puff. So right now Puff is looking at 5 years. He's not going to do 20 years. The government is saying they're going to ask for 5. And the defense is asking for 2.5. I think the judge might give him 3. If the judge gives him 3, he'll have to do another year and he'll be out. Because you got to do 85% of your time in the feds. Yeah, you got to do 85% of your time in the feds. And they want him to sit for a longer period of time. They want him to sit for a longer period of time because the government lost in a major way. Because they lost that racketeering count, they're not able to seize Bad Boy Records and his homes and his cars and his jewelry and his money. So they're very heated. So they want him to spend a little bit more time in jail. We got to get that Mann Act law overturned. And I think even if Puff doesn't physically help R. Kelly, I think his lawyers are going to go try to get that law overturned, which will indirectly help R. Kelly, because R. Kelly got a lot of Mann Act convictions for Faith and for Azriel and for Geronda. So if Puff's legal team can get that law overturned, R. Kelly, some of his charges would be dropped and he will get an opportunity to be resentenced. So Puff's case is going to help R. Kelly. That's why I was never against Puff, because I saw the end game. The end game is Puff has more money. He is going to help R. Kelly, whether indirectly or directly. He was acquitted of RICO. Now, R. Kelly's lawyers can look at what Puff's lawyers did and try to get him a new trial. And we got to get this Mann Act overturned. If the Mann Act, which is a racist law, gets overturned, R. Kelly will be a free man, y'all. So this Puffy case will help R. Kelly, whether Puff directly sends his lawyers to New York to help Rob or not. R. Kelly's gonna be fine. I think R. Kelly's gonna be fine. R. Kelly went to trial at the height of the Me Too movement. R. Kelly went to trial at the height of the Me Too movement. By now, people are kind of exhausted of all these Me Too stories. We're tired of every woman coming forward and crying rape after the fact when they did something willingly. Back then, you had the entire Me Too movement against R. Kelly. They did 3 documentaries. By the time he went to trial, all of the jury saw the documentaries. They painted him as this monster. They had the documentary and they had the dark music behind it. And they just really portrayed him as a terrible person, which he was not. And so by the time he got to trial, the jury already made up their minds. And the fact that he didn't have the right lawyers, and I know Greenberg was still tweeting yesterday and saying R. Kelly could have had the same outcome if he didn't fire him before trial because his lawyers were not experienced trial lawyers. And maybe that's true. Maybe Greenberg could have won the case at trial for the racketeering, especially the racketeering, and maybe Azriel, he would have been acquitted on that, and maybe it wouldn't have been 30 years. Even if he didn't get acquitted on everything, maybe if he got acquitted on that racketeering and some of the Mann Acts, it might have been like 15 years, right? So, or 10 years, you know? But we'll never know because a lot of decisions were made back then, and I feel like if Nicole was not a good trial lawyer. She was not a good trial lawyer. I think he thought if he had a woman lawyer speaking for him, it would have been better. But yeah, he needed experienced trial lawyers, and he needed the money to really fight it. I wonder how much this case cost Puff. I wonder how much this case cost Puff. I think I heard he was paying his lawyers $10,000 a day apiece. So it might have cost him upwards of $15 million for attorney's fees. And then you got to consider everything that's he was facing. Man, that's crazy. He's gonna get his freedom back. His kids are happy. And another thing that Puff had that R. Kelly didn't have was family in the court with him every day. His mama was there. All of his children were there, except for the little baby, except for baby Love. All of the kids. Quincy was there every day. And one thing about Quincy, he rocked with Puff. Even though he's Albie Shore's son, he rocks with Puff. And people were like, well, why? Puff ain't his daddy. Puff raised him. Puff was paying child support for Quincy and the other 3 kids that Kim had with him. So Puff is his dad in every way that matters. Puff is the only dad he's ever had. And he still lives with Puff. So this narrative that Quincy is not his real son, they love each other. And I'm glad that Puff had that support. R. Kelly did not have his kids' support. You got his wayward kids running around making documentaries. You got the ex-wife running around on documentaries. It was crazy. But Puff's baby mamas were there in court, in unity, behind him, well-dressed, well-manicured, hair done, nails done. All of his baby mamas came up there looking good. The mama came up there, well-dressed, well done. So he was looking like, okay, this man got support system. His kids are behind him. His kids, he's blowing kisses to his kids. He's a family man, you know. he's not that bad of a person, because there he is blowing a kiss to his kids. His kids are blowing kisses to him. So it's stuff like that that could make a jury feel sympathy. Stuff like that could make a jury feel sympathy. With R. Kelly's case, his kids didn't understand that, look, the money is on the line. We got to get up there and show support. Even if we can't go based on our mama, we got to make sure our daddy get out of this shit. Go up there and be in unity. And then you tell your daddy behind the scenes, Dad, I don't agree with you. You shouldn't have been with Azriel. You should have sent that whole home. Whatever you got to say. But be in unity behind your daddy. They let Drea tear them against their own father. Despicable. But they'll regret it one day, though. They'll regret siding with their mama over their daddy. But y'all, his son is coming around. His son, I'm hearing, has been communicating with him. So he is in the process of rebuilding his relationship with his son, R. Kelly. So that's good. If he can rebuild his relationship with his kids, and if his kids can apologize, especially his daughter, for lying and saying that she got touched on, I would be extremely happy, because I know it hurts Rob to be in a separation with his children when he loves them so much. And it's time for Drea to step aside and stop trying to ruin R. Kelly by, turning the kids against him. It's vicious what this woman has done. And she has fucked up millions of dollars. So that's the difference between R. Kelly and Puff. Puff had unity. His baby mamas were in agreement that, look, we got to get up there and show support. Because if Puff get convicted on this RICO, we about to go broke. Puff been taking care of a lot of people. His baby mamas ain't been working. They living off Puff. So, of course, they got to go up there and show support. This is unbelievable, y'all. This is unbelievable what black men are going through in this country. White men pay for prostitutes all the time. They don't get state charges. They don't get federal charges. They don't get racketeering charges. You have Jared Leto, the famous Oscar winner. Jared Leto, actor Jared Leto. He played the Joker in what was the movie he played the Joker in? The Joker and what you call it was Harley Quinn. I forget the name of the movie, but it was a big blockbuster. Jared Leto has been accused of having sex with several underage girls. Do you see the media covering Jared Leto? They said Jared Leto been fucking every underage girl he come across. Do you see the media calling for him as a white man to go to jail for the rest of his life and racketeering charges? No, but they're calling Puff evil. The black man is evil. Puff didn't have any accusation in court about any minors being at the freak-offs. It was all Cassie and 50 Cent baby mama. That's who he was freaking off with. And they wanted Puff to go to jail for life, y'all. They just wanted to see him lose all his money. And it was too many black people cheering on the federal government. It was too many black people cheering on and saying, nah, 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 nah. I wanna see Puff go down. I wanna see Puff go to jail for life. It was way too much of that. It was way, way, way too much of that. I'm outside, y'all. It's the 4th. And it's raining now. But I'm not in the rain. I'm outside because it's the 4th. And I came out here to talk to y'all about the Puffy acquittal. Puff Daddy acquitted, acquitted, acquitted. Hallelujah. And now Cassie's being sued, y'all. I forgot. Cassie's being sued by a prostitute that says she gave him an STD and she had an abortion of his child without his consent. His name is Clayton Howard. And he said Cassie forced him to jack off for hours and his penis was bleeding. But he was jacking off so much. Man. Cassie is now going to be sued by a lot of them prostitutes. A lot of them prostitutes are going to come back and flip it and say, you sex trafficked me. You paid me to come there, and you told me to piss in your mouth. And you told me to do things that I was uncomfortable with, and I felt harmed. Watch. Cassie is not going to get to keep that $20 million, y'all. She should not have taken the stand. She should have laid low. She should have tried to settle this as much as possible with Puff behind the scenes, because now she is exposed. Everything she ever did in the bed is exposed. And her mama is hearing this. Her family is hearing this. Her kids are going to hear this. At what point does Cassie look at this situation and say, dang, I tried to dig a grave for Puff and push him in it, but I fell in it with him too? Because she's attached to Puff. I don't think what she didn't think about was that people are not going to be out here screaming you a victim. It's a lot of people saying that she's not a victim, especially after the acquittal. When people heard those text messages of Cassie saying, I'm ready to freak off, I want to choke on some dicks tonight, all of these things that she telling Puff, and he's like, okay, you can set up the freak off, you can pick who you want to come over. So she had full control over the niggas that she was bringing in. Puff didn't pick the niggas. She was picking the man. So he was letting her decide, okay, I'm going to pick who I want to have sex with. Since you're just watching, I got to be comfortable. And he let her do that. Now, another thing that people are not talking about, remember, Puff is a member of a sex club. And Cassie became a member of the sex club too. And as a part of that sex club, you have to have a wife or a girlfriend that's willing to swap. You have a wife or a girlfriend that's willing to be swapped out. You cannot be a part. You cannot be a part of the sex club if you don't bring a woman. So Puff brought Cassie, and she watched Cassie fuck another man's wife. I mean, she watched Puff fuck another man's wife, right? And I guess another man would fuck Cassie. And sometimes they would go to the sex club and she would just watch Puff with other women. You see, that's not being brought up enough. So it wasn't just one-sided. She would sit and watch Puff fuck women, and he would sit and watch her fuck men. They were swapping. They were swinging. And I think these sex clubs in LA are for successful people. You got to pay money to be a part of it. You got to pay like $10,000 and stuff like that to be a part of it. So Cassie and Puff were involved in a lot of shit. And she watched him with women at the sex club. And everybody's downplaying that important, crucial part of this whole situation. Cassie's not a victim. 50 Cent baby mama is not a victim. They found Gina. TMZ found Gina. And they asked her, is Puff a dangerous man? She said no, Puff never did anything dangerous to her. But she went on Tasha K a couple years ago. She went on Tasha K and said Puff kicked the baby out her stomach. But now she switched her story up. She said Puff ain't never did nothing to her. So she possibly could have been exaggerating when she went on Tasha K. I'm not saying Puff didn't hit her, but I don't believe he kicked no baby out her stomach. Yeah, Gina was lying because Puff had cut her off financially. Puff got tired of her and had cut her off financially. This is unbelievable, y'all. I wonder who's the next black man that's going to get taken down. Who's it? You think it's going to be T.I.? T.I. and Tiny? I don't know, because remember a couple of years ago those allegations came up against T.I. and it kind of went away, but T.I. sued the doll company. Remember, they just sued the doll company, and they said that they made dolls that were favoring the OMG girls, and they had to get paid, and they won $71 million. I don't think T.I. And Tiny are going to escape being being held under the RICO Act because of them suing the doll company and winning $71 million. So T.I. and Tiny might be next. And T.I. and Tiny been doing wife swapping. T.I. would fuck another man's wife and somebody else would fuck Tiny. They've been doing a lot of that too, so they kind of getting scared. They need to be leaving the country. They need to be leaving the country. I don't think they're out of the woods. Everybody in the business, every black entertainer needs to be very careful. If they've ever had a threesome, if they ever paid for a plane ticket, if they ever sat up here and just really just gave any woman some money after they fuck, they need to be on the lookout for a federal investigation. And most people don't have money like Puff to fight it. Puff had the money to fight this shit. And he stood up and he said, no, y'all not going to pay me as no sex trafficker. Everything I did was consensual. I didn't traffic a goddamn person in my life. And why would he have to? He Puff had it. He's Puff. Women were willing to do whatever Puff wanted to be a part of his world. And Cassie fucked her life up by bringing this to the public. She really has fucked her life up, y'all, by bringing this to the public. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Free R. Kelly, y'all. I'm hearing Rob is out of solitary, y'all. R. Kelly's out of solitary. And I think I heard that he's going to get his surgery. If he hasn't already had his surgery for the blood clots. So that's good news. Keep R. Kelly in your prayers. This verdict that came back against Puff for not guilty under RICO is going to help R. Kelly, whether it's directly or indirectly. And we gotta sit back. I'm gonna continue to support Puff. I'm gonna email his people. I'm gonna email some of Puff's closest friends. I'm gonna DM them, and I'm gonna get them to get Puff to help R. Kelly, y'all. I'm gonna get R. Kelly out of jail. We're gonna get him out. We're gonna get him out. It might take a couple more years, but we'll get him out. R. Kelly's not gonna do no 30 years, y'all. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. R. Kelly shouldn't be doing no 30 years in jail. R. Kelly shouldn't be doing no 30 years in jail. Anyway, free R. Kelly, free Puff Daddy.